talk about biological control. So biological control is a method of controlling pests by introducing a natural predator or parasite to the pest. So that's what biological control is. And so as you heard about the zebra mussel, the round goby came, and it wasn't actually introduced by humans, but kind of worked to control the non-native zebra mussel that got introduced there. So that's the idea of biological control. So I'm going to give you two examples of biological control, and there's good with it and there's bad with it. The first example is the cane toads. Cane toads were actually introduced into Australia as biological control. So there was a grub or kind of an insect that was eating the sugar cane. And this toad, the cane toad, was actually native, I believe, in Hawaii. And it was native there, and it was found to eat those insects. So they took a bunch of these toads and they brought them to Australia and introduced them. This was back in 1935. When they released them, what they didn't realize is that the cane toads didn't like going in sugarcane fields. It was too hot and dry for them. And so in the end, they did not go where the bugs were. And then the other thing that happened is the cane toads were really prolific. They survived very well and they took over. And they ended up being a bigger problem than the grubs ever were. So the cane toads had this indiscriminate diet, meaning they were generalists and ate lots of things. And they ended up wiping out native species and again causing a bigger problem. So biological control is a great idea, but if it's not done without a lot of research and oversight, it can actually make the problem worse, not better. So that's one of the big lessons learned is always prevent biological control, but you have to be careful. And a lot of times once we get an invasive species in, it's going to be constant management and work. A different type of example of biological control is for purple loosestrife. So purple loosestrife is this really pretty purple plant you see in this picture here, but it is not native in wetlands. And we already know how wetlands are super important, but they're already really threatened. And so a lot of native wetland species are getting wiped out by purple loosestrife. And purple loosestrife actually was introduced by humans because it's pretty. So we like the look of it, and so we introduced it in areas, and then it outcompetes native species, and we throw off the ecosystem and the balance in certain wetlands. So it was introduced, and again, it's threatening many wetlands across the United States. So biological control was proposed, and this little beetle was found to eat the purple loosestrife. But it's also a very specialized beetle that it only seems to go after the purple loosestrife. So if it kills off all the purple loosestrife, what happens is the beetle dies off then. It doesn't shift and start eating other things. It's not a generalist. It's very specialized. A lot of research was done to determine if this would work to control the purple loosestrife population. So this seems to be an example of biological control actually working. So that's examples of biological control. My cat has sat here, this is Oreo, with me helping explain this. But again, cats, people will use cats as a biological control, like for rodents and things like that. And that can work. They can be a way to control it. But then cats, feral cats actually are a real problem. They eat a lot of, they attack a lot of migratory birds and things like that too. And again, feral cats are not native in this area. People let them outside and they cause issues. So they can be a biological control method I could use in my home or in my neighborhood to control rats, but again, could cause issues on the ecosystem and the native species that are there. So that's biological control and the pros and